let's move on to Lamar Jackson, Colin. Interesting subplot here. I think this is low-key the biggest offseason story that nobody's talking about. Colin, remember, he wants a new deal, okay? Entering next season, he has a $74.5 million cap hit.
Brutal.
That is among the worst in the league. I don't know if it's actually the worst. But here's the thing. One former NFL veteran believes if Lamar doesn't get what he wants, and remember, the last time they had a couple rounds over this, he didn't get what he wanted. He wanted the Deshaun Watson contract. That he could force the Ravens' hand, as the saying goes, and tell them he will only restructure with another team, trade me. Now, maybe that's a bridge too far, but Colin, I think if you remember, the Lamar Jackson last negotiation was ugly, and now there's no John Harbaugh. I think they made a mistake firing Harbaugh.
Well, I'll say this about John Harbaugh. Sometimes you lose a job and you win. So Jesse Minter is going to inherit a Lamar Jackson who did not last year look nearly as explosive and is now punitively expensive. John Harbaugh goes to the New York Giants, lower expectations, talented rookie quarterback on his deal, left tackle, star running back and wide receiver, very high draft pick. He doesn't have those cap problems. He doesn't have the Ravens expectations where you either beat Mahomes or Allen or you're not the right coach. So you think John Harbaugh, oh boy, the Giants are a losing organization. I'm telling you, Stefanski and Harbaugh may very well turn out to be thankful they were let go because and I think Jesse Minter may be good. You are completely limited. We've just watched it happen with Stafford, team-friendly deal for the Rams, Darnold, team-friendly deal, Drake May, rookie deal. I don't know if Jesse Minter understands how limited you become with a you have to hit on every draft pick.
Man, he's probably banking on the Ravens organization that he knows well coming through. But Colin, I'm sure you've heard the saying from some movies, you know, he got the last chopper out of Saigon. Yeah. I think you could be onto something with Harbaugh getting out just in time. It may have worked in his favor. And I'll just tell you, I think we touched on this last week. I may have done it on my podcast, but I'm just telling you right now, this Lamar thing could go sideways easily. And I will ask you, if you've got the choice, if you're the Raiders, do you want to say, hey man, we got the #1 pick. Do you want Max Crosby, a #1 pick, a future #1, give us Lamar Jackson? Because I would not do that under any circumstances. I would go forward with Mendoza on the cheap, but I'm just telling you, I think there's a world. Remember, Crosby wants out. Do the Raiders say, we could go get Lamar Jackson, bring him in here? Does Tom Brady want to go big game hunting? I think that is going to be one of the more interesting subplots as we lead up to the draft.
Yeah, this Lamar thing, I'm telling you, John Harbaugh, if they get the right tackle solved and maybe another weapon, the Giants next year, they're going to have cap space, going to have their O-line set if they get the first good tackle. It's, you know, this league, we know this. It changes instantly.
Yeah, Colin's definitely pretty high on the idea of John Harbaugh leaving the Ravens. But I want to focus on Lamar Jackson in all of this. Man, I can't see Lamar being traded. I really can't wrap my head around that possibility. I wonder, though, what does Lamar Jackson want most? We could sit here and say, oh, he wants a ring, or he wants this or that. But maybe he wants all the money. And I'm not even going to fault him for that. If he's sitting there thinking, dude, I want as much money as I possibly can get, I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire for that. I'm really not. But it's hard to know. Last time around with the contract negotiations, we had a situation where things got weird. One, Lamar was a lot younger back then. I think it was his first real true payday at that time. Things were just weird. It was a different dynamic. I think Lamar's a lot more mature now. Lamar understands the NFL a lot better now than he did then. He's already made a massive amount of money throughout his career. So it's hard for me to imagine that things get as weird as they did last time around. But we did have a pretty good idea of what he wanted back then. It was widely reported that he wanted what Deshaun Watson got. That fully guaranteed contract, $200+ million, all of that type of stuff. To me, it's unclear what exactly he wants now. And obviously, the Ravens want to continue with Lamar Jackson. That's obvious. That's obvious. That's obvious. They wouldn't have moved on from Harbaugh if they were planning some kind of rebuild or reset. So this whole narrative of, oh, we'll trade him, I don't buy it. The only way they trade him is if Lamar Jackson is really demanding things that are just too outrageous or not conducive to legitimately winning a Super Bowl. That's the only scenario where I see that happening. But I don't know. I'm not anticipating things getting weird again, but I also don't think things are smooth either. I don't think things are smooth at all. And yeah, I don't know. That's the problem with Lamar Jackson. He's hard to figure out because of the energy that he brings and his level of communication with everyone. He definitely kind of beats to his own drum, which again, I respect. I respect that about him. But it's just hard to really get a finger on the pulse in that regard. Like, Josh Allen was crying after he lost in the playoffs. And he was crying when Sean McDermott got fired. It's hard for me to imagine that if he was negotiating a contract, he was then just going to leave Buffalo. I just couldn't see it, right? It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. When Matthew Stafford was negotiating his contract, and he got offered more money with the Raiders, I think, and maybe the Steelers, but definitely at least the Raiders. And I was just like, it's hard for me to imagine that Stafford's going to leave Sean McVay and the Rams and go to Las Vegas. I'm like, I don't know about that. And the caveat was, well, this is his last chance to make a lot of money. And maybe he's just like, I won my ring, I did all this. But then you think, is he going to move all of his kids and his wife? It's just hard. With Lamar, I don't have that felt sense. If someone says Lamar's like, I'll go to Vegas, that wouldn't shock me. It would shock me if the Ravens are willing to do that. That's the key distinction there. And that's why I think the only way that's possible is if Lamar's like, yeah, I want $300 million all guaranteed for 3 years. And they're like, no, buddy. And he's like, well, then I'm not playing. They're like, all right, fine. Then we're going to ship you out. Where do you want to go? We'll get you out the door. But like, yeah, I mean, it's all about winning a Super Bowl at this point, right? That's what it's at for the Bengals, for the Ravens, for the Bills. It's like, what do you need to do to win a Super Bowl? That is 100% what it's all about. And anything that feels like it's counter to that, you gotta go. You gotta go. It's that simple. It's that black and white. It's that cut and dry. It just really is. And I think that's obvious. It's hardly a hot take or a profound take. And so it's like, so what are you going to do? And the reality is that Lamar does need to be conducive to this, right? It's not about taking a pay cut or this or that. And that's why it's hard, because you just don't quite know what he wants, right? Or what he's looking to get in terms of the contract. Money, years, guarantees, all that type of stuff. Lamar Jackson can force the Ravens' hand in extension talks. I don't know, man. I'm curious how that lands for you. What that means for you as a fan. I know a lot of Lamar fans, a lot of Ravens fans, are going to push back immediately and say, well, it's nonsense. He's staying in Baltimore. He's not doing anything harsh. He's worth all the money in the world. Pay him. Blah, blah, blah. I encourage people to try to look a little bit beyond that. What does Lamar want? What should the Ravens offer? What's conducive to building a championship team? And is there a real possibility that Lamar makes this a little bit difficult, and then things do get a little weird, and then the idea of them moving him or trading him becomes more realistic? Could Lamar end up in Minnesota or something? I'm trying to think, what are some of the other potential options where he could conceivably land and be great immediately? I don't know if that's Vegas. It's a little bit harder to see there with Pete Carroll and that whole situation. But you got Minnesota. I'm trying to think, man. I feel like that's really, if I'm Lamar, I'm probably thinking Vegas, only because you have the opportunity to work with Clint Kubiak. But if not, then Kevin O'Connell, of course. But nothing jumps out because I know other people talked about the Jets before, and I'm like, if you're Lamar Jackson, in what universe would you want to go to the New York Jets? That sounds insane to me. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Pittsburgh? That doesn't make any sense either. You're not going to go to Pittsburgh. And why would you go at this point in your career? Why would you go to a rival team of the franchise that you built? I think fans are more accepting of that when you're at the end of your career, right? When it's obvious that it's time to move on and you're older, then people are like, okay, if you end up on a rival team, no harm, no foul, what are you going to do? But at this point, if Lamar goes to the Steelers or something, it's just going to hit different. It's going to hit different. If Lamar's 36 years old and he goes to the Steelers, sure, I think everybody will be totally fine with that. At this point in his prime, no. So, I don't know. It's a weird time right now. It's a weird time for the Ravens and for Lamar. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens? Do you think Lamar can or will force the Ravens' hand in extension talks? Do you think Harbaugh is going to win this divorce? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.